Hey, welcome to
Doceree Dialogue,
a platform that unites industry leaders
Come together and exchange ideas, innovation, and insights.
shaping the future of healthcare marketing. All right. Daniel, thank you for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
It's been an interesting couple of days already, right?
Yes, busy conference.
Yeah.
A lot to do, a lot to see. Yeah.
Amazing. So tell the listeners about you. Who are you? Where do you work? What do you do? And maybe some background.
Yeah. My name is Dan Lynch. I work with M3MI. We're a syndicated research company for pharmaceutical advertising. I am a senior manager of insights and analysis. So a lot of data work, a lot of writing of researching and analyzing, building new trends. I feel like that's a big part of what I've been doing. A little bit about myself.
Yeah.
Facts. I am part owner of an NFL team.
Wow. Which one?
Yes, the Green Bay Packers.
No.
I own one share along with 500,000 other Packer fans.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So you're a cheesehead.
I am a
That's
cheese.
amazing. Well done. Congratulations.
Thanks.
Anything else we should know about you?
I've been referenced as a pharmaceutical nerd.
Okay.
I absolutely love the pharmaceutical advertising industry. I had an illness, and the way I discovered that illness was through disease education advertising.
Oh, wow.
From the agency side, my first ever, I worked on the AbbVie account, and the first assignment they put me on, told them I was having some gastro issues, and they said, "Oh, have you ever thought about this?" And I said, "No." And they had me read a pamphlet,
Wow.
and I was within the gastro within 1 week, diagnosed. So it means a lot to me.
Yeah. So it's a personal thing, really.
Yes, it is a personal thing. Yeah.
Amazing. Amazing. And what does M3MI do? what do you guys do in general?
Yeah. So we have a couple different offerings with M3MI. I'd say the big thing that I've used it for my agency side is utilizing it for foundational research on how to build media plans. So we do the syndicated research of healthcare consumers, caregivers, and also the physicians, and coming up with what channels they utilize, what's their attitude about pharmaceutical advertising, what's the best way to interact, reach them, and engage with them, and trying to make that connection from both the consumer side and the physician side to kind of tell the whole story of what patient marketers and physician marketers should be doing.
And presumably the clients are pharma companies, pharma brand marketers. Is that who you sort of, who buys your
I would say
research from?
pharma marketers, pharma healthcare agencies. We do a lot of work with both the pharma marketing portions. Yeah.
Amazing. So what do you think has changed over the last 5 years? We've got this explosion of channels and platforms and access to all sorts of data. What's been going on in the last 5 years that you think, wow, this is crazy?
Yeah. I feel like the trend used to be that agencies and healthcare marketers used to tout themselves as we were a data-driven agency. Now, span 5 years from now we are an AI-driven agency. So how do we get that data faster, more precise, and more thoughtful to the actual user? So I've noticed the speed of what pharmaceutical companies, agencies are asked to do is speeding up and trying to get that data more precise.
But on the research side, though, there's still the process that pharma goes
Yes.
through, right? Has that shortened? Has the process changed?
I feel like it has shortened,
pushing.
and we've gone from crosstabs.
Yeah.
So trying to mine the data in very technical ways.
Or write some Python
Yep.
script or whatever.
Exactly. To dashboards.
Yeah.
So now the dashboards are already pre-populated. You put in the different filters you want to see. It'll come up with the information in a more speedier manner, and then making it easier to just take that data and export it out into a PowerPoint presentation to kind of limit the steps that somebody using the data needs to do.
Are your customers using your data mainly around brand planning, or are they also using it to create audience cohorts as well for their marketing program?
Yeah, that's a great question. So a lot of it is utilizing the data to analyze your audiences. But what we're seeing more is an audience isn't just the same.
It's not
The
homogeneous anymore,
the person that has Crohn's disease or ulcerative colitis is very different when you start putting in the different age groups. When you look at a caregiver audience, or even we can look at people that will take advertising and talk to their doctor about it. So a more proactive patient. So I feel like building out those segmentations within our research become more and more prevalent, because the other thing too is part of the storytelling is that. So now that I know the different audiences that I need to reach, how do I bring in the right messaging to reach that audience? Because messaging can't be one size fits all.
It's one of the biggest things I've been talking about is I would say we've got too much data at the moment and not enough information
Yes.
to create these cohorts. But then where we fall down is now we got the customer, we know exactly who they are, but we give them the same message.
Yeah.
So the creative doesn't get changed,
And I've worked in so many times where we have one TV ad.
Yeah.
And that's it. And you can make slight tweaks and not just call to actions, but visuals. And I feel like potentially AI might be helping with that too. And that's another big thing that we work with too within our personas and audiences is our audiences for activation. So we have all this data now. If you're going to reach somebody programmatically or through an addressable media, taking our survey data and then activating the audiences. So really taking it from that planning to activation portion.
So I suspect it's sort of really good for the beginning, right? So I'm going to sit down and I'm going to do my plan for the next 6 months. I'm going to create this cohort, put it together, drop it. Do you then see people coming back and refining, or do they just stay with it? Because my suspicion is once you get it into the market, you've got to refine it. Right?
Yes. And that's, I think, another big change of when I used to do planning back in the day of 2004 of you found your audience, you put it out there, you're buying your print. But now with so much data coming back from digital buys, research that is coming on the back end of, are we driving scripts?
Exactly.
You have to make those tweaks of, is this the right audience? Or is there a change in that audience based on things that are happening within the marketplace? Yeah.
The market moves, the world keeps moving. So what we suggested was good 6 months ago.
Might not be good
now, right?
And I feel like that's a good piece is I feel like media planning never ends.
No.
It's got to be a living and breathing thing. And especially things are changing so much. Yeah.
But I think one of the things that I get frustrated about is even with the sophisticated tools that we have, we're still doing the basics of optimization based on maybe a click-through parameter.
Yes.
And we're not looking at it from an engagement or an activation or whatever, right?
What content is actually driving the message versus what is my media buy on the front? And to your point, the click-through rates. I was at a session yesterday where they were talking about linear and CTV. And they're talking about how some pharma marketers are so hesitant about utilizing those more personal audiences. So they're doing basic demo buying. And and if that message was built on a demo, you're wasting a lot of eyeballs. You're wasting a lot of great engagement. Yeah.
And you're wasting a lot of money on CPMs that you shouldn't basically be doing, right?
Exactly.
And it is fascinating because if you look at particularly CTV, you've got a good amount of data there to do highly targeted messaging.
Yes.
Based on even the geography. You could rotate messages, Arizona versus Texas versus Florida versus Ohio, right?
I've worked with some conditions where it is kind of weather-based. Where in the hotter conditions, you're going to have more flare-ups versus colder conditions. And again, you kind of want to have that messaging that's going to resonate with it and adjust your buy. And I feel like too, with so much of that data, I feel like with the measurement side of some of the buying on the back end, you can get is X, Y, and Z buy driving scripts. So there are so much deeper engagement things that you can be doing beyond just the click-through rate.
Do you talk to your clients about actually doing that? Because I think what I see is we still have those silos, right? We have the brand AOR that positions the brand. And then you've got the media agency doing the paid media. Then you've got the earned media guys doing whatever they're doing. And then you've got the digital agency with the website. And then you put
in the same playpen. And sometimes they don't really want to work together. Or somebody has an idea that might not work over here. And I feel like a lot of the pharmaceutical companies I was working with when I was in my agency path are doing a better job of pulling together the key stakeholders to map out on one sheet. This is where the buy is going. This is the messaging we're going to feed to these different audiences and tying that more omni-channel plan, because I feel like that's another buzzword. It's just, we're doing an omni-channel buy. But are we doing an omni-channel PR plan? Are we doing is everyone tying it all together? Yes.
Exactly. I remember having a conversation with somebody not too long ago at smaller biotech, and they're like, yeah, we do omni-channel. We started doing emails. And I'm like, okay.
What else? There's more channels out there. It's actually like even just the session yesterday, I was seeing that like the movie theater, the advertising before they're trying to get in on pharma. So there's so many more outlets to kind of get that messaging out there.
Talking of that, let's pivot a little bit on Fierce Pharma, the event itself. We've been here a couple of days. I'm sure you've been to a couple of sessions.
Yes.
Anything stand out to you that you were like, oh, that's interesting, or oh, that's new, I didn't know about that?
I think one of the big ones that I'm excited about is actually a session today where we're actually they're talking about the blue jean moments of physicians. So yes, doctors are working a lot, but how do you...
Blue jeans versus white coats.
White coats. Blue jeans versus white coats, right? And how do you kind of reach that physician when they're outside in their daily life? And I think one of the biggest things that we've heard from pharma that they're utilizing our data for is you're spending $5 million on a TV buy to reach a consumer audience. Is that TV buy reaching physicians? And we have that data that kind of ties in. What networks are they listening to? What are they doing? Are they listening to podcasts? Because you can generate so many efficiencies that showcase them utilizing both sides of the data. And I feel like we're going to see more of that kind of conversation of reaching them in their blue jean moments. Yeah.
But, here's the thing, right? And I've been doing this for about 15 years. And I've always used to say, doctors are people too.
Yes.
Nurses are people too. They do shop on Instagram.
Yep.
They do watch TV and they watch YouTube. And they're on Netflix.
They're getting DoorDash too. Yeah.
Right? So we've got to look at it from a holistic perspective.
Yes.
And maybe what we do is doing the blue jean moments, we do more brand building and education.
Exactly.
And through the white coat moments, we actually go into the science and the indication, right?
Yes. I feel like those blue jeans are great for awareness, where to your point, the white coat moments are where you really want to drive that engagement. Yeah.
Exactly. And that's going to drive. It's sort of similar to the analogy I've used is, the blue jean moments are things like you're driving. I don't know if you've been to New York, you go through the Midtown Tunnel, there's a massive billboard up on the left.
Yes.
Millions of people drive past that billboard. Ray-Bans up there.
Yeah.
Subliminally, now you've got Ray-Bans in your head because you're driving past it every day.
Mm-hmm.
And then, when you get into the endemic platforms, you're now standing in front of the store one day and you see the Ray-Bans in the window.
Yes.
And then in the EHR or in email or on TV or whatever, during the white coat moment, that's when you're talking to them and saying, here's your Ray-Bans, try them on.
And I love the website and the nudges.
There you go.
There are so many things that have to nudge along and get those reminders. It's kind of funny. My 5-year-old daughter was watching TV recently, and out of nowhere, she just said, the Walmart that you thought you knew is now new. And I was like, okay, so it's driving awareness.
Yep.
And it's like, if a doctor sees something along those messages it's just enough to get them to think about it. Yes.
We'd spend so much money on unbranded campaigns to raise awareness before we do a launch.
Yes. Yeah. Right. The typical steps. Yeah.
Completely wasted half the time.
Yeah.
Because they target the wrong audiences at the wrong moments, I think.
Exactly. I would completely agree with that. Yeah.
Anything else stand out? Yes.
I would say a lot of the other ones that I've been keeping an eye on is like anything around the influencers.
Okay.
And content creation.
Let's pivot a little bit to, as we look at the future, you touched on AI. There are so many areas that AI could really help a brand marketer from a data perspective, but also from a decision-making perspective of what channels and platforms to use.
Yes.
Are you seeing anything new on that side? Because everything I've seen so far is either I can take all this data from this place and put it in one place, or I can tell the AI to serve up the ads in different channels. But nobody's sort of marrying all of this together in any way on the platform.
Well, and I think that's going to be the big thing is like creating that platform. And I think that's one of the future things for our company is how do you, with the evolution of everything, it's like, all right, we had the crosstab, we had a dashboard. How do we get into an AI tool?
Yeah.
And one of the things I found interesting in talking to one of my old agency partners is they didn't want their younger people utilizing dashboard or going to AI because they felt that it limited the fact finding of like going to places where you don't think, because AI will feed you what you'll need to know and you won't think past that. I feel like in a lot of cases.
I never thought about that. I remember I used to do a lot of work with inference engines.
Yes.
For a while back in the 90s. And that was the same thing. You go down this, you start with one prompt that says, show me all of the consumers in Dallas who bought Coca-Cola then.
Yes.
And then you have to say, okay, well, what about this one? And that your brain had to really
You start digging and digging and digging. And sometimes when I'm writing articles, I find I'm 2 a.m. and I got to stop digging. Like too much data. Yes.
exactly.
Pull it back to what the main point is. Yes.
So maybe you're right. Maybe it's giving people what they want, but then maybe the AI should also prompt you to say, do you want to discover more
Exactly.
or something like that? Right?
Yeah. Or even think, did you think about this audience? Yeah.
Exactly. Overall, though, I think you're right. In general, marketers are starting to say, I need more information about my customers so I can segment them better.
Yes.
Any other data sets that you guys are looking at? I know you've got your panels and all that stuff.
Yes.
Are you overlaying anything else like demographic or psychographic or lifestyle or any of those things onto your data sets?
Yes. And I think that's one of the nice part about our data sets are we get to those attitudes, the behaviors, those type of information to like, again, not make it just a demo, not just make it this, but like for the proactive patients versus the patients that are maybe just doctor-led. Because if we know that, then you can kind of skew your optimization mix. If they're doctor-led, we're going to want to make sure that physician that meets with those patients is getting more of the information. So we're making sure. So it's interesting and great having all this data. Yeah.
Have you thought about applying it to clinical trials? And
It is something that we've talked about. Yes. Because we can see the use case there. Right? Yeah.
We've been doing with Doceree. We're now created using the platform exactly as it is. But our hypothesis is that if the doctor is aware of a trial going on in their area, when the patient comes to talk to them about it, they're more likely to refer the patient than if they don't know anything about it.
Yeah.
So, so there's the same sort of messages and triggers occur.
Exactly. And I feel like physicians want that clinical data, especially coming out and knowing the trends, because a lot of the questions that we ask too are what channels are you utilizing to stay ahead of all the medical developments happening? And so much of that is having to know what clinical trials, what's coming up next. Yeah.
Exactly. Who's doing something innovative, maybe.
Yeah.
Right? So we've got about a minute left. My last sort of thing always is any predictions, next 18 months, maybe even next 12 months. Is there something you could say, if I had that or if I saw that, that would be awesome?
I feel like if I could have the ability to get more data within one AI platform, I think that would be absolutely amazing to kind of see more cohesiveness. And even on the EHR side, having more connectiveness between the different systems that can make it a little bit easier to get information, communicate with your physician, and make it just a little bit easier for patients. Yeah.
Amazing. Daniel, thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, for having me.
I hope you enjoyed this little conversation we just had. I learned a lot today, so I appreciate you.
All right.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Have a good day.